Welcome back to Weems Motor Co. Let's get back to work on the Born Free bike. Alright, in the last video we left off with this bike. We had an engine, a gearbox, and some wheels on there, and it's obviously all the way back down to the frame because I wanted to show you guys a special trick that I like to do on show bikes. Now, if we were talking about the last video, how we were confused on how to carry on with showing you guys what we're doing, well, we're a few months on into the process, and now we are able to show you some of those tricks and tips on this 1952 Triumph rigid frame. So, as you can tell, we have done a lot of cleaning up. We cut off brackets, we welded in some holes, we've smoothed and tried to get this thing into a better shape to finish up our mock-up process. Well, one of the pet peeves that I have on these Triumph frames, and really most motorcycle frames, where you have a hardtail section or multiple parts of the frame and you have to bolt them together. Well, on these particular ones, you noticed in our video that they use these studs with two nuts, one on each side, to bolt the rear section of the frame together. There's another one also up at the top, and then a portion down here at the bottom of the frame that you put studs through and hold them. Well, I've never liked the look of having that stud go through and you got a nut on both sides. I wanted something a little bit cleaner for this particular build, so I came up with the idea of using bolts with a slugged portion in the middle of the frame. Man, this place is a disaster in here, and that's just something I'm going to have to deal with as we continue plugging away on this bike. Now, what I am going to do in this particular video is we are going to make slugs that replace where those studs go through the frame, and each portion, each side of those are going to be tapped. So instead of putting a stud all the way through, we're going to be able to put a bolt on each side and make them match nice and neat and be a really cool look for this. Now, there are four portions of this frame where we're going to be doing that. This upper portion of the frame where the seat post comes in, then we have the cross underneath that holds that front section to the rear section, and then up in the front we have the lower that holds the rear section to the front section, and then the upper motor mount bolt here. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump over onto the bandsaw, cut some pieces of solid stock, get them chucked up in the lathe, get them turned, drill some holes in there, tap them, and then we're going to have to open up those holes on this frame so that we can slide that slug into place. Then we can weld it and finish it, and then we can get those bolts into place so that this frame will hold together and it'll look really super cool. So first thing to do, let's grab some material, head to the bandsaw, and start making some cuts. Now that we got those four pieces rough cut, what we need to do is to take our calipers, go over to the frame, and measure those four different points where we're going to be putting these slugs into the frame. After we get those measurements, we'll take these pieces that we cut over to the lathe, face them off, and then go ahead and get the other end cut to the right measurement width-wise. So when we drill out that frame and we put these slugs into place, we can make sure that they are the right width so everything lines up nice and tight. We're also going to have to turn down the outside diameter of these, and then we'll drill a hole in both sides and tap that hole to use for our hardware. Speaking of hardware, it is very important, like we said before, that all of your hardware matches on your motorcycle. So on this build, we're using hardware that we've never used before, and we're super excited about it. And that just happens to be stainless steel button head bolts. All the hardware will be matched with this. So when you are looking at the outside of that frame and that bolt's laid in there, it's gonna look nice and smooth. We'll have these all polished up nice and neat, so everything matches and everything looks great for our Born Free 16 build that we have titled Ultor, which means the Punisher, because we did the judge, we did the jury, and now this is the Punisher. Excited about it. So let's get these pieces over to the lathe and start getting them to the right size. Looks good. Now to do this 3 more times, but we'll save you the time and we'll just skip past that and head back over to the bench. All right, now that we got all 4 of our bungs, spacers, slugs, whatever you want to call them, we have to open up those holes on the frame to fit the diameter of these portions so that we can slide it into the frame and then we can TIG weld that together. So obviously we don't want to hog it all the way out to the finished size. We want to use stepped drill bits so that we make sure that we're maintaining that alignment that is in those frames. So let's grab out the frame, start drilling some holes, and get these slugs into place so that we can weld them up. Let's get to work. Alright, after burning up multiple drill bits, resharpening them, and then discovering that it's not going to work because the steel is way too hard, I had to go out and purchase 2 drill bits that cost me $300. Carbide drill bits that would work and get through this metal. Then burned up a drill, another $200. So after $500, we have 4 holes drilled into this frame. If that is not an example of the challenges you face when you build a custom motorcycle, I don't know what is. So, got the holes done. Now we can get the slugs in there. We can get these things welded up, and we can get this frame back together in one piece. So, let's get back to work. So all of the bungs welded into place, smoothed out, nice and neat, ready to bolt on to the rear section. So without further ado, let's get this thing bolted together and wrap this video up. Ta-da! And just like that, we have that 1952 Triumph frame for our Born Free 16 build Ultor wrapped up, ready to go. The only thing left to do is everything else, and that's a lot of things left. Fender, tank, fabrication for the foot pegs, all kinds of crazy stuff going on, but you guys are going to be here right along the whole journey of it. But with that, we're wrapping up today's video. We thank you for hanging out. If you are new around here, jump down and hit that subscribe button. If you really like the video, hit that thumbs up, turn those notifications on, and let everyone know what's going on right here at Weems Motor Co. Peace.